Welcome to the podcast Of Course They Make Me Crazy. It's about crazy family stories. We all have one, right? More importantly, it's for those of you living with someone who suffers with a mental illness. You can start to feel lost in their world. Now, I get it. I grew up with a bipolar mom addicted to pain pills. Hoping the stories shared here will help you through difficult days. It's not all serious. We laugh and joke too. If you have little ones around, hop in your headphones. Adults only, please. Hi there. This is April. Happy New Year. Okay, so I want to say real quickly, if you're watching on YouTube, a video of our discussion will come on soon. And if you're not and you're just listening, well, forget I said anything about that. So what is the conversation about this time? Well, it's between myself and my friend Jolana Kinlaw. So she has a blog called justjoblog.com. She's a licensed clinical mental health counselor who writes about the struggles of having a child with autism. And we did a podcast on that topic a while back, but then we just kept talking about everything under the sun. And the podcast just became too damn long. So I had to cut some of it out. We were just being two gabby girls, but we were talking about some things that I think might be helpful to you. We talked about like the internal fight, that you have with yourself in the morning. At least we do. Where are you going to put your positive panties on? Are you going to be a negative Nelly today? It's so much easier to be negative, isn't it? But what do you do? What do we do? How do you snap out of that? Got to exercise that mental muscle. So we talk a little bit about that. And then also having to tiptoe around your old friends because they don't really understand your new ways and how that can put pressure on you. And so we talk a little bit about that and how you shouldn't let people tell you how to live and all that good stuff. And then talking to God. Do you ever do that, huh? So we talk about that and even challenging him. Ooh, that's scary. It's just a quick 13 minutes. So we really hope that you enjoy it.
Probably a few weeks before I met you. And I was like, I'm just going to tell my story. My husband tells me all the time, like, you don't have to put a whole lot of thought into this because you're just being Joe. Like the name literally was birthed in a conversation we were having one night over dinner. And I was like, I just want to do a blog just to be me, just to be Joe, because everybody calls me Joe. And he was like, boom, that's it. That's your name. You're just
I love it.
And so I can talk about mental health. I can talk about marriage. I can talk about the difficulties of being a believer. I can talk about how difficult autism is while sharing the journey. I can just be me. I could just be, it's just my life. And through that, I hope to inspire others and I hope to learn from others. So I've definitely have been able to connect with other moms, other special needs moms that have given me tips and have said, hey, we're doing that too. A lot of mothers have reached out to me as far as clean dieting, have been able to help me because I have struggled in that area because Caden's such a picky eater. So I've kind of found my tribe. Yeah. It's kind of working. So I'm just thankful in that. It's been an amazing thing. And I'm just excited to see where it'll go because I'm just doing it. I'm just going. And it's kind of like my freedom.
Yeah. I mean, I think you put it out there and it comes. I truly believe that. And I know that there's a lot of garbage out, on Instagram. There's just a lot of that, but there's also a lot of amazing people too.
There really is. And I'm learning that. I really am learning that. Because I only would get on Instagram for personal reasons, but now that I kind of have a cause, I'm just like, wow, they're good people out there.
Right. There's good people besides just your friends. I mean, I only ever got on it just to see what my people were doing, the people that are within my community. And it's so, I've connected with people in Australia and, it's just super cool. I love it.
I do too. And especially talking about topics like this, topics that need to be talked about, especially mental health. And I think it's such a good time, especially it's awesome that you're doing this podcast during this time because it gives people, people are sitting at home more, people are listening to podcasts more, like they can get that positive encouragement, and to not feel alone that, mental health is all around us.
It is. Every single day, we all got something to And I have to, I tell my little sister all the time, I'm like, it doesn't just come naturally for me. I have to feed myself positivity every day. So that's not something that I just wake up out of bed and I'm like, I think I'm going to, start a podcast. I'm going to be happy April, that's just not,
It doesn't work that way.
No, I have to put myself in that space, and I have to find time in the morning to make sure I put myself in that space. So as soon as I wake up, I'll say, ready to rock it, even though I don't feel like it. And then I'll say, no, I'm just like cranky. I'm cranky today. And then I'll have like this internal fight with myself.
No, but that's so real, because that's what it looks like. And I tell people all the time, I used to tell my clients during counseling sessions, I'm like, look, you have to do the mental work. Like everything that we talk about, it literally starts with a thought. And it's so funny because if my husband hears this, he's like, you should be taking your own advice. But it literally, because I don't all the time, because I'm like, it takes too much work to be positive, right? I just rather complain. It's so much easier. But you literally have to like turn that thought around. Like, even if you wake up feeling depressed or you're feeling like you can't go another day with dealing with the member that has whatever issues or overcoming whatever mental health issues, you literally have to be like, okay, it looks like this, but today I'm going to have a good day. Today, I'm going to start by taking a walk if I need to, or I'm going to have an extra cup of coffee to get myself going, or I'm going to listen to this podcast on the way to work. Like, that's literally how it starts. You don't wake up and be like, I'm ready.
Yeah.
No, you wake up and you're like, what? How am I going to get
Exactly. Like, here we go again. Good Lord. I'm with you on that. I even tell, like, this is when I was growing up, I was always like, you're all just like so dark and I'm not going there, And so I had this talk with myself, and I told myself, I will put myself in front of people who are happier than me, who are smarter than me, and who have more money than me.
Absolutely. I was just about to say the money one. Oh my God. That is so it. That's it. You put yourself around like-minded people, or where you want to go, because it's going to ruffle your feathers and cause you to change somewhere. You know what I mean? For the good. Yeah. For the good.
And I do still struggle with that. I think when I was younger, I was more adamant about doing that. But, I'm in my mid-40s now. So it's kind of like.
You look good, girl.
I'm trying. I think it gets harder. So when I listen to these podcasts that say that, and that they remind me of that, I feel like it's like a punch in the gut sometimes to me, because it's a reminder that I'm not doing it like I used to. Right. It's just, but I'll get back into it. I have a great group of people. So it's not, I love them all, but sometimes your older friends, that you've had for so long just aren't on the same wavelength as you anymore. It doesn't mean we have to not be friends. It just means that, it's just a little different.
It's different. I am going through that same journey. I think, even the difficulties after I got married, because once you get married, you're trying to get used to being one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of my relationship were like, oh, well, you're all about your faith and da-da-da-da-da-da. And, I just don't feel like we could be friends. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, this has been me for a while now, this is how I survived, because I had some dark areas in my life where I wasn't going down the right path. So
right.
That felt like a slap in the face, because it's like, now that I have this husband and we both believe the same thing, and we're just striving, because that's our foundation. That's what got us to where we are. A lot of times, I know some church folks or Christians get a bad rep, but a lot of people sometimes that follow that path of finding Jesus or whoever their higher power is, it came because they were in an area in their life where it was like, I'm about to leave, or, you know what I mean? I'm in a really tough part to where you have no choice but to look up. Right.
Right.
And so, realizing that, different beliefs and different lifestyles and stuff, I did not realize how that was going to naturally like shift some of my relationships. And I wasn't prepared for it. And it slapped me. And I was like, oh my God, like what? And so I'm still trying to learn how to, it's very difficult for me to still interact in a way where I could be transparent and feel comfortable talking about my faith, because I can go on and on and on about my faith. But then I'm like, I don't want to make other people feel uncomfortable or feel like I'm trying to impose that on them, because I can just talk and talk and talk, you know? At the same time, I am a firm believer that just because people don't believe what I believe, that doesn't mean that you disconnect from them, right? Absolutely not. And so I just try to still, you know, grow my relationships, but be who I am too, and not hide that. And that's been something I've been trying to get used to, even with my beliefs with autism. If I go in a room with a bunch of parents and they ask me, you know, and they open up that door, and then I get those looks like, she's crazy. Like, well, you asked, like,
we're all crazy.
Right.
We really are.
I'm more comfortable with voicing what I believe. And then I find a lot of people behind closed doors like, oh my God, you know, that helped me so much, or I believe that too, or I have a question. And I'm like, you know, absolutely. I'll be happy to answer, or, you know, answer your questions or pray with you. I've gotten a lot of moms that have asked me to pray for them, or, you know, how I started my faith, you know, and I've had people who have been like, you're crazy. You need to read a few more books, and autism's here forever. So,
well, you know, just like I said at the very beginning of this podcast, you do you, you know, you only know what's right for you. And don't have anybody tell you how to live your life.
There you go. And because I think that's the message.
Because otherwise you're going to get sick even more, even more.
Absolutely.
You're going to get sick even more. And if you're not a believer, you know, like my dad would always say, oh, I'm an atheist. And I'm like, oh, where did that even come from? Because I've been living with you since I've been 7, and I've never heard you say that before.
That is so funny, because you legit have been living with him for 7. He's probably like, I didn't know you were paying attention.
Like, and when did that come up? Okay. And I get it, you know, dealing with things with my mom, and, you know, he would think that God wasn't on his side a lot of times. And I know for many of you listening, you probably feel that too. But challenge it, you know, say, yeah, I need you, or I don't believe in you anymore, and this is why. You have to show me, you know. So
there was more conversation like that. Honestly, because that's really what it looks like. I think people think prayer is like, sometimes it's like, do you have my back or not? Like, what is going on? Like, I don't believe what you said is legit. I need some more redirection. Like, having a conversation with him, that intimacy, literally going to him like he's a person. I wish there was more conversation like that and more transparency around that. Because a lot of people look at you and be like, what do you mean you went and questioned God? And it's like, I'm having a conversation with them. Like,
it's scary. Yeah. But if you don't believe it anyways, well, why not just go ahead and take or cross your fingers and put them behind your back and be like, oh, well, I was just kidding myself.
No, but seriously, but I think out of that type talk like that, that's where God shows up, because he's going to show you. He's going to show you.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Well, alrighty, girly. Well, we're going to stop it there. And if anybody wants to reach out to either one of us, if you guys want to reach out to either one of us, we would love to talk with you. And so I will put your contact information in the show notes, and we will see you next time. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Those of us living with people suffering from a mental illness have a lot to deal with too. They're not the only ones hurting. We hurt with them. Having a supportive community is so important to your health. Would love to hear your story too. Email, of course they make me crazy, @gmail.com.